Do you think Cotto has a realistic chance of beating Floyd, or do you think that this is a favorable matchup for Mayweather?
I think it's a favorable matchup for Mayweather. I mean, I really and truly do. I think that Floyd, you know, he wouldn't fight at 154 pounds unless he was absolutely confident and sure that Miguel Cotto was past his prime, number one, and that, you know, he seen Miguel is not the same fighter he was 5 years ago. So this is why Floyd feels comfortable at going up to 154 pounds. And also, you know, I think that the only chance Miguel Cotto have beaten Floyd Mayweather, I think he let it go when he let Emmanuel Stewart go. I think Emmanuel brought a lot to the table for him, but he can't get mad at the other guy that he brought in, because the other guy, you know, what he needed for the Antonio Margarito fight was conditioning, you know, and the other guy did a great job because, you know, he had to box Antonio Margarito that way in order to win. But to fight a guy like Floyd Mayweather, you need a strategist, and Emmanuel is the best strategist in the world, and he don't have that. So I just, you know, I really don't see him beating Floyd at anything. You know, Floyd, I stand there and punch with him. Floyd, he can't outbox Floyd. Floyd is too good of a counterpuncher. So in order for him to have a chance, I think he needs Emmanuel Stewart.
So that was boxing trainer Ronnie Shields talking about this fight which is happening tonight between Miguel Cotto and Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Ronnie Shields believes that the only reason Floyd is taking this fight at 154 pounds is because Miguel Cotto is past his prime. So he's basically saying that if Miguel Cotto was still in his prime, Floyd Mayweather would not be taking this fight. Now, Floyd Mayweather, you know, has definitely ducked some of the bigger guys, the physically bigger guys at 147 and 154 pounds. But I don't believe that Miguel Cotto was one of them. I think Floyd Mayweather would have been willing to fight Miguel Cotto at any weight, at any time of his career. I think he would have been happy to fight a prime Miguel Cotto. He would have been happy to fight at whatever weight Miguel Cotto want him to fight at any time. I never used to think that way. You know, there's a lot of politics in boxing and it can make you think this way or that way. But the longer I thought about it, the more I started to realize that, you know what, nah, I don't think Floyd really ducked Miguel Cotto. Like I said, I used to think that, but now I think, nah, man, he didn't duck him. I just think it was a political situation why the fight didn't happen back in the days when they was both in their prime. I think Floyd always wanted to fight Miguel. But like I said, it was political. And the reason why I think Floyd always wanted to fight Miguel is because Miguel has so much flaws in his boxing style. And if Floyd can see them, if I can see them flaws, you're damn sure Floyd can see them flaws. You understand? So that's it really, you know. I just think Floyd knows all the weaknesses that Miguel Cotto has. I see all them weaknesses. You understand? The way that he fights, hunched over, you know, with his arms so far apart, leaving himself open to straight shots down the middle and uppercuts. You know, he limits his own peripheral vision by leaning forward all the time and having his hands up, right? You know, constantly by the side of his head. You know, I know Miguel Cotto is naturally a bigger man than Floyd Mayweather in terms of his weight. He's naturally heavier, but Floyd's taller. And Floyd's got a longer reach. You understand? So, you know, and on top of that, you know, the only way that a fighter can make his weight be a factor in any fight, yeah, is if, well, obviously if he can land the punches, right? He can put his weight behind the punches, but failing that, if he can use his physical size, if he can impose his physical size on his opponent by pushing him back physically, by getting rough in the clinches, that's how a guy can make his extra weight, you know, and extra physical strength and natural size count. But the problem with Miguel Cotto is that these days, he don't fight like that. He don't fight a physical fight these days. He tries to box. You understand? So the fact that he's naturally bigger in terms of weight than Floyd is not going to make no difference. Because he's not choosing to fight in a way that's going to make his extra size a factor. You understand? If he was coming forward and pressuring and making it a physical fight, yeah, like the way he used to do at certain points in his prime, like when he fought at 140, if he was, coming forward and pressuring Floyd like that, he might be able to make his extra weight count. But I don't think he has, for one, the confidence to fight like that no more. I don't think he has the work rate and the stamina and the speed that he used to have as a younger fighter. I don't think he can take the punishment and recover from the punishment as well as he used to, in his younger days. And, even so, I think Floyd would have beaten a prime Miguel Cotto anyway, right? That's my opinion. I might be wrong. Yeah, I think it would have been a competitive fight. I think Miguel Cotto would have had a chance in the fight. I think it would have been a pretty close fight. But I think personally that Floyd would have won the fight. Yeah, if they fought in their primes. And obviously right now, Floyd is not even in his prime. You understand? Floyd himself is, past his prime. But Floyd ain't taking no punishment in his career. Miguel Cotto has taken punishment. And I know Floyd want to say that Miguel Cotto's an unbeaten fighter. He wants to question his losses and this, that, and the other. Well, you could question the nature of his losses if you want to. Me personally, I think that both of them guys that beat him because they were better on the night. I just think there was too much for him on the night at that particular time. People can disagree with that. That's cool, but that's my personal feeling. Yeah. So, but you can question the nature of them two defeats that he had in his career. But what you can't question is the beatings, the physical punishment that he took in those fights. Yeah, that stays with you. It damages you and it stays with you. Right? So on top of the fact that he makes a whole heap of technical mistakes, and Floyd Mayweather is a tremendous technical boxer. Yeah, he makes very few mistakes in a boxing ring. Almost none. You understand? So you have to be, very, very committed to pressure fighting and, and in the hope that you can force a mistake. Yeah, or you have to be big enough that you can keep Floyd on the end of a jab. Big and tall enough, you can keep him on the end of the jab so he can't get his counters off. Right? Or you have to be slick enough like a Pernell Whitaker where you could counter punch him, like the way how Zab Judah was doing in the early rounds. Obviously, Zab Judah is no Pernell Whitaker, but he tried to do his best impression. Zab was pretty slick back in the days. He tried to do his best impression in the early rounds against Floyd, and he was doing all right. But obviously, he weren't as good as Pernell Whitaker, so he couldn't really make a 12-round fight of it. It was pretty much a 3-4 round fight, that fight. You know what I mean? Even though it went 12, Judah was out of it, by the halfway stage. So, there's a number of different ways that you could potentially beat Floyd, right? But I don't see Miguel Cotto being able to beat him in any of those ways because he's not good enough at doing any of those things, right? He's not tall enough to, obviously outreach and outbox Floyd. Yeah, he's not no Tommy Hearns with a big long jab that can keep you on that. He's not like that. Understand? He's not, slick like a Zab Judah or even a Pernell Whitaker. Yeah, I mean, who's as slick as Pernell Whitaker? But, he's not as slick as a Zab Judah, even though he did beat Judah. Styles make fights, you understand? He's not as slick as a Zab Judah. I do think that Miguel Cotto is a good boxer and he has a good boxing brain. Definitely a better boxing brain than Victor Ortiz, Floyd's last opponent. But I don't think he's slick enough to pull off any boxing tactics and try out slick Floyd. I can't see it. And so the only real chance he has is if he goes all guns blazing and just try to pressure Floyd like the old Miguel Cotto. I think that's his best bet, to be honest, but I don't think he's gonna do it. I think he don't have the confidence in himself anymore to fight that way. I could be wrong. We might be in for an upset. Upsets happen in boxing. You understand? That's what boxing is all about. It's all about upsets. You know what I mean? Anyone can be beat. There's no one in boxing ever been invincible. You know what I mean? Like, never. I mean, Floyd is 42-0. I mean, he's 35 years old with 42 fights. I mean, Saul Alvarez has had nearly that amount of fights and he's only 21. You know, boxing is a numbers game. Floyd lost 6 fights as an amateur because you don't get to choose who you fight in the amateurs. You understand? Like, you might just, you know, come up against a guy who you've got no idea who he is and he has a certain awkward style that he can beat you on the night. You understand? But at this stage, Floyd gets to fight the exact guys that he wants to fight when he wants to fight them. Don't get it twisted. I think Floyd's a great fighter. I think in the lighter weights, he was a dominant, excellent champion. I think as he's moved up in weight, he has avoided certain guys as he's got older and, you know, fighting these bigger, tougher, taller, you know, stronger guys. I think he's avoided a few of them, but I don't think Miguel Cotto's ever been one of them guys. I think he's got this fight. I think he'll win on points. I don't think he's as relentless a pressure fighter. I don't think he can fight as relentless pressure fight as Antonio Margarito. And I don't think he can fight as high volume fight as a Manny Pacquiao. Even though I don't think Miguel Cotto was the same fighter he was back then, I still think he's got the legs to keep out of trouble, you know, if he gets hurt or anything like that. And I don't think Floyd will throw enough punches to finish him. Definitely not early or midway through the fight. I think if there's a stoppage, it will be because of facial damage. Miguel Cotto will get some type of facial damage and you know, the fight will be stopped because of that. I don't see a knockout. I just don't think Floyd will throw enough punches or apply enough pressure to get the knockout. But you know, we'll see what happens. Upsets do happen in boxing, you know what I mean? Like, it's not all about skills. Sometimes heart and determination, you know. Floyd's 35 himself, you know, does he still have the legs to keep up with Miguel? I think Miguel might give Floyd some problems with his movement early on. Because Miguel still can move around pretty well. But I think, you know, towards the middle rounds, Floyd will start finding his timing and his range, you know, and I think he'll start catching Cotto pretty regular, and he'll start pulling away on the cards, and I think he'll win a decision. Yeah, that's how I see it. Anyway, let me know what you lot think in the comment section below. Please, no trolls. Unfortunately, whenever I do a Miguel Cotto video, I always get a bunch of trolls. You know, Miguel Cotto fanatics just trolling the comment section, just cussing and this, that, and the other. They're not here to discuss boxing. They're just here to insult people and talk a bunch of rubbish. So, you know, I'm going to have to put approved comments only on this video. And the same goes for Floyd Mayweather videos. You know, obviously there's a whole heap of, you know, Floyd fanatics that hear any type of tiny piece of criticism about their fighter and they want to come and troll the comment section. They don't want to have no serious, you know, intellectual boxing discussion. They just want to talk a bag of nonsense. You understand? So for that reason, I apologize to all the true boxing fans and the people that are coming here to discuss boxing sensibly. But I'm going to have to put approved comments only on this video. Obviously, all sensible comments will be approved, you know, regardless if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. But any type of trolling comments, obviously, will not be approved, yeah? So let me know what you lot think in the comment section below about this fight with Miguel Cotto. Do you think Floyd would have fought him in his prime? What do you think about what Ronnie Shields said? Do you think the fight would have been any different if they fought in their primes? You know, just let me know what you think. Anyway, this is Hatman. I'm out.